¿Qué onda? This is Shista Garcilaso. Aztlan Weekly is a volunteer-based community news outlet. Our work is brought to you by the contributions of El Partido Nacional de la Raza Unida, PNLRU, also known as La Raza Unida Party. If you're interested in learning more about the party or want to join, visit www.razaunidaparty.org. Our show is also brought to you by Maíz Poppin' Press, a raza-based publisher producing cultura para la raza. For more info, visit their webpage, www.maizpoppin.com, or find them on social media by searching at Maíz Poppin' Press, and keep a lookout for their book, Once Upon a Time in Occupied Aztlan, by El Indio, copyright 1985. Lastly, Aztlan Weekly is made possible by you, the listener. If interested in offering further contributions or support, visit www.aztlanweekly.com. And now, on with the show.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
There is a signal broadcast every second of every day. Look around the environment we live in. Carbon dioxide, fluorocarbons, and methane have increased. We are resourced to them. They want benign indifference. They want us drugged. We could be pets. We could be food. But all we really are is livestock. Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep. The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
¿Qué hubo, raza? Yo soy Ernesto Ayala.
¿Qué hubo, raza? Yo soy Shista Garcilaso.
¿Qué hubo, raza? Yo soy Robert Ramirez.
¿Qué rollo con el pollo, raza? This is El Indio.
And this is Aztlan Weekly.
Empezamos con noticias desde Coloraztlán. Good news, raza. The Colorado House of Representatives passed HB 26-1033, also known as the Tamal Act, with a bipartisan 46-17 vote. The legislation expands the Cottage Food Act, allowing home-based entrepreneurs to legally sell temperature-controlled foods like tamales, burros, and sandwiches, or tortas. To address safety, the bill requires home chefs to complete a food safety course. Additionally, the act removes the $10,000 annual net revenue cap to help small businesses scale, according to Colorado House Democrats. Supporters emphasize that this change provides economic opportunities for families and lowers barriers for entrepreneurs. Para más información, visit cohousedema.com.
Y en otras noticias desde Coloraztlán.
Hey Sagradites, this is Bruce Trujillo with Manos Sagrados, here with some pretty heavy news today. Manos Sagrados is going to have to close its doors at the end of May. I'm still working on our final big bash to send it all off in style. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll have more on that once we're all confirmed. But our final day here in our building will be May 31st. And before I go any further, I have to say thank you. Thank you to all of the people who have made Manos Sagrados possible, all of our creators and performers who have stepped on our stage and shared their medicine, to everybody who has made community connections happen in this very room, either by being in the audience, by hosting a workshop or a class or a market, or the folks who are creating on their own work in our studios downstairs. There's a number of ways to connect with Manos Sagrados, and it's only made possible by our community. So thank you so much for making this dream happen. There's a number of reasons why I've decided to close Manos Sagrados. Obviously, the landscape for art spaces has been pretty rocky. Manos Sagrados is not exempt from any of that. In addition, Manos Sagrados is entirely volunteer run, on my end included, and it's just not sustainable right at this time. Manos Sagrados is pivoting, though, to becoming a booking, production, and promotion company, which we've been doing the entire time as well. So if you're an artist, musician, person who does movement classes, whatever it might be, hit me up. We'll get you into the right space. Or maybe you're looking to book somebody to make your event unforgettable. I got you. And in addition to that, looking to support other community spaces that have been doing great work throughout the Denver metro area to ensure that their doors don't have to close. We got to keep each other safe. So, trying to work with different folks. I'll be working with a number of partners throughout the summer and into the fall. So this isn't goodbye. It's just, I'll see you out there. Now, if you haven't been able to come in, or if you just want to say a final goodbye, there's a number of events that are happening throughout the month of May, which you can find over at manosagrados.com. And if you have any questions, just reach out. I'd be happy to talk more about this and about, quite frankly, how excited I am for this next chapter of Manos. But again, thank you for everything that you've done to make this space happen. See you soon.
Manos Sagrados is a booking and management house with a venue and artist studio space to come. Manos Sagrados is a performance and event venue, music art movement, live events, studios, and classes. Buyer for the communities we serve. 9975 East Colfax Avenue, Aurora, Colorado. For more info, visit manosagrados.com. And enjoyed news involving Califaslan, Arizonaslan, y Nevadaslan.
Califas, Arizona, y Nevada have proposed a new short-term voluntary water sharing plan to conserve at least 3.2 million acre-feet of Colorado River water through 2028. This agreement serves as a bridge to protect Lake Mead and Lake Powell from critically low levels while permanent long-term solutions are negotiated. Under the proposal, Arizona and Califas would contribute roughly 300,000 acre-feet in savings, with Nevada contributing 100,000 acre-feet. The plan aims to mitigate severe federal water cuts for Arizona cities and suggests establishing a tribal pool of water for indigenous communities. Additionally, lower basin states are calling on upper basin states, Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico, to provide immediate verifiable water contributions. Read the full story at npr.com.
We'll be right back after a word from our contributors.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm Scott Russell Duncan, a Chicano writer, editor, and AztlanWeekly reporter with the widest name. Scott! AztlanWeekly is produced in association with Maíz Poppin' Press, where we publish radical imagination and resistance writing that pops. Visit maizpoppin.com. We're also in association with the Palabras del Pueblo Writing Workshop, an affordable and accessible online workshop that centers La Raza and strengthens our own literary institutions. Writing that speaks to our community first and loudest. See more at palabrasdelpueblo.com.
What's up, familia? If you're looking for a space that celebrates powerful storytelling, community, and culture, the Brown Book Club is where you need to be. Since 2020, we've been building a community centered on Latina, Latino, Chicana, Chicano, and Indigenous voices, uplifting stories that reflect who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. We don't just read these books, we connect with the authors behind them. Through the Brown Book Club podcast, we've had real conversations with incredible writers, diving deeper into their stories, their process, and their lived experiences. This is more than a book club. It's community, it's culture, it's conversation. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Just search The Brown Book Club and tap in.
Okay, so let's say you've got the Mexica calendar for the upcoming year, Se Tochtli, and you want to know a little bit more about the philosophy and worldview associated with the ancestral calendar system. Or maybe you're curious about the individual feasts that are held in connection with each of the months. Well, dear listeners, I've got you covered, because my new book, Never Will It Be Lost, is now available. It features beautiful cover art provided by the amazing artist Mi Corazón Mexica, and it's packed with full-color images from the codices. In it, I go over each of the monthly feasts, and I provide some guidance and suggestions on how these feasts can be celebrated today. I also go into the Mexica worldview, cosmovision, and philosophy, and I talk about how we, as modern-day Mesoamerican descendants, can connect with and actualize this philosophy in the modern world. I'm super proud of this book. Again, it's called Never Will It Be Lost, Ritual, Remembrance, and the Aztec Calendar by yours truly, Curly Tlapoyawa. And if you order it using the link in the show notes, you get $5 off. So if you want to support independent, indigenous Chicano media, please consider picking it up. Tlaskamati Timoitase.
Y en más Califas-related noticias desde Pacoima, Sur Califas-Lan, a large bear was spotted roaming through a Pacoima, causing residents to alert authorities and prompting a temporary lockdown of nearby schools. The animal was observed walking along fences and traversing residential backyards before settling on a patio. California Department of Fish and Wildlife officials tracked the animal near Hanson Dam. After several hours, the bear was safely tranquilized while resting on a brick wall. It will be evaluated by officials and transported to a suitable, more natural habitat. Read more at abc7.com.
This is Andrea Martinez coming to you from Roswell, New Mexico, Aztlan. The group Food Not Bombs Roswell has filed a lawsuit against the city of Roswell, claiming its constitutional rights were violated after officials shut down its weekly food sharing events. The organization began hosting public demonstrations in the summer of 2024 at Pioneer Plaza, promoting its message that food is a human right and it opposes war. City officials later required the group to obtain a permit and insurance to continue operating. According to the lawsuit, the group did not apply for the permit, and in November of 2024, the city forced them to stop their activities. With legal support from the New Mexico Center of Law and Poverty, the group argues that food sharing events are a form of protected political expression under the Constitution. Attorneys for the group say the permit requirement is unnecessary and it infringes on the right to demonstrate it publicly. They also argue the restrictions have limited their ability to distribute food and connect to the community. The city of Roswell has declined to comment, citing ongoing litigation. I myself am a former member of Food Not Bombs Roswell. I helped build Food Not Bombs Roswell alongside Jocelyn Smith from the ground up, picking up food 5 days a week and helping serving our community twice a week. I've done this work in the heat, and it's very hard work, but the community desperately needed it. During that time, I personally witnessed city workers turning water on us during our efforts and would repeatedly disrupt what we were doing. We were pushed out and treated like we didn't belong while simply trying to help feed people as well as supply them with basic necessities. This has never been about food. It's about dignity, community, and the belief that food is a human right. I stand with Food Not Bombs Roswell and support them as they take this fight to court.
And now news desde Arizona, Aztlán. Chantal Wadsworth, a dedicated advocate from Shiprock, has received a national award for her efforts to improve pet care access within the Navajo Nation. To bridge the gap in services, she often drives families and their animals to veterinary appointments in a region with limited care. Her work earned a $10,000 grant for her nominating organization to support essential veterinary services. This funding is vital, as only 2 clinics serve the vast area. By connecting remote residents with care, Wadsworth improves the health of pets and owners throughout the Navajo Nation. Read more at navajotimes.com.
Spensa, damas y caballeros. We seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. I don't know, just put it in a tape.
Spensa, damas, caballeros, we seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties.
Please stand by.
They have power. We have numbers. And although we are growing and organizing, we're not as organized as we can be. There are tens of millions of raza, tens of millions of Chicanas and Chicanos, tens of millions of indigenous people, and we are growing. And we're overwhelmingly workers. We are the people in the fields. We are the people in the factories. We are the people in the tiendas and everywhere doing everything. We, if properly organized, with what the partido is, in every barrio, on every reservation, because that's our raza, in every school, in La Pinta, everywhere that there is raza in the workplace, we are a force that cannot be stopped. We are a nation. We are a nation. But we need to realize that. And we need to talk about that every single day, compañeras and compañeros. That's what brought us here. We're all different raza from everywhere. But we have one idea. We can be free. But we need to organize to do that. As one people, one nation. And those in the United States, obviously. But we can't do that. They even tell us, there are reports of the economic power of so-called Latinos in the United States that we could be the 8th largest economy independent of anybody. And they're not talking about Aztlán or revolution, but they recognize that. Do we recognize that?
Thanks for hanging in there, listeners. Now back to Aztlan Weekly.
That was our very own Ernesto Che Ayala, backed by a firme-ass beat by yours truly, El Indio. And now, in crime-related news, desde Nuevo Mexicaslan, former Rio Arriba County Sheriff Tommy Rodea Jr. was sentenced to federal prison following a career marked by misconduct and corruption. Rodea had previously been removed as a magistrate judge in 2008 for misconduct, yet later assumed the role of sheriff. Federal agents raided his oficina in 2013, investigating allegations of bribery involving his personal scholarship fund, quote unquote, and the mishandling of evidence in a fatal DWI case, that's driving while intoxicated. Investigations revealed a pattern of behavior, incluyendo fixing tickets and falsifying reports to help associates avoid jail time. The case highlights a long historia de legal troubles that culminated in his federal conviction en La Pinta. Para más información, visit krqe.com.
Y en más crime-related noticias, the Dallas, Texaslan, Jennifer Manzanares Herrera, 25, was arrested at Dallas Love Field on April 30th, 2026, after 75 pounds of vacuum-sealed marijuana spilled from a broken suitcase with additional drugs found in 2 other bags. Arriving from Las Vegas, the suspect was taken into custody before leaving the airport. Police said she is charged with second-degree felony, possession of marijuana, 50 to 2,000 pounds. Law enforcement officials emphasized this seizure aligns with efforts to combat the city's use as a drug transportation hub. For more information, visit yahoonews.com. In the news, that the Utahslan, Utah, an extremely rare 2-headed calf was recently born on a ranch in southern Utah. While the birth was unexpected, the rancher noted the animal appeared to be in relatively good health. Cabezón. This phenomenon, known as polycephaly, occurs when an embryo fails to fully split into twins. Despite the ranch family providing special care, experts indicate such animals often face significant survival challenges. The unusual event has drawn local attention, with many considering the calf's birth a unique occurrence. Read the full story at abc4.com. Moo.
Back to Nevadaslan, desde Las Vegas. The new state fair is coming. The Southern Nevada State Fair will debut at the Rio Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Las Vegaslan, from May 6th to 10th, featuring carnival rides and midway games. This event, located in the convention center parking lot, will offer diverse food options, including classic fair treats. Admission is $10, with free entry for children under 54 inches tall. Special free entry is available on Wednesday and Thursday for first responders, military veterans, and teachers. This new event follows efforts to revitalize fair traditions in the state, including the separate Reno-based Nevada State Fair. Para más información, visit 8newsnow.com.
And finally, in other news, desde Colorazlan, Western Colorado University is repatriating the remains of dozens of Native Americans and various indigenous artifacts held in its Hearst Museum for nearly a century. The university finalized a major milestone by publishing a Notice of Inventory Completion in the Federal Register, complying with legal requirements under the NAGPRA. The remains, primarily from the Four Corners region, were identified with input from elders representing the Southern Ute, Ute Mountain Ute, and Pueblo of Zia tribes. An $81,000 grant received in 2023 facilitated the proper identification and cataloging of these items, which has remained in storage for years. Reinterment has planned for this fall on public land in an event coordinated by regional tribes and the Bureau of Reclamation. For more details, visit kkco11news.com.
And now, eventos en Aztlán.
Hi, I'm Gabe Rivas Gomez, and I wrote Level Up. Level Up is a story of a trans tween named Desi who goes on an adventure in a virtual world to save her dying dog. In going on this adventure, learns that she needs to find a way to survive both in the virtual and in the real world. And it felt important to me to write this story with this character being the focus because so much of what we are seeing in the media today is dehumanizing to gay, lesbian, trans, queer people. And when moments like this throughout history, I think it's really vitally important that we find ways to tell stories that rehumanize the people that are being dehumanized. My hope for this play is that as young people come to see it, that they feel seen, that they see a piece of themselves on stage. Come see Level Up at the LATC. Get your tickets, bring your families, bring your kids, bring your older people.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Yo soy Felicia con Mujeres de Maíz y yo soy la directora y una de las cofundadoras de la organización. Es una organización de la comunidad del este de Los Ángeles de puras mujeres de color de diferentes edades y comunidades y lo que apreciamos es diferentes cosas como arte y activismo y también bienestar. Queremos invitarles a esa La Cultura Cura Feria de Bienestar que va a ser el 9 de mayo, un sábado de 10 a 4. Es todo gratis y gratuito. Vamos a tener diferentes sesiones de bienestar, recursos, información, presentaciones y pláticas. Todo en español y todo para nuestra comunidad. Vénganse. Muchas gracias. Cualquier información se puede dar en mujeresdemaiz.com y está patrocinado por Take Action LA. Muchas gracias. Nos vemos.
Y un evento en San Diego, Califaslan, Aztlan Libre announces Save the Date, May 9th. It's our 7th annual Chicana art exhibition and poetry, and we're ready to celebrate. This effort began in 2012 at The Spot, located on Main Street in Barrio Logan. The second flyer is the original flyer we used to come together and honor Chicana Arte. Join us as we come together to celebrate our madrecitas and continue to uplift Chicana Arte. When? May 9th, 2 to 8 p.m. Where? Aztlan Libre Galeria Mestizaje. 2076 Logan Ave, San Diego, Califas 92113. For more info, visit their Instagram page by searching Aztlan Libre.
Y un evento desde Arizona Aztlán. Palabras Bookstore desde Phoenix, Arizona announces Meet the Voice Behind Migrant Heart. Join Bilingual Press Thursday, May 28th for the live conversation with Reina Grande and Ofelia Montelongo at the ASU Art Museum, a powerful night of storytelling, identifying, and memory you will not want to miss. Doors open 5:30 p.m. for a 6 p.m. start, and the event is free to attend for all. RSVP at hrc.asu.edu. Y un evento desde Fort Worth, Texaslán. Cultura Markets announces El Centro Community Market, hosted by Cultura Markets. Come see what community really feels like. Shop incredible local artisans. Slow down and reset with a community-guided yoga session. Grab a cafecito y un pan. Enjoy delicious food, vibe to some music, and enjoy la cultura. Don't forget to invite your friends, family, and bring your fur friends to enjoy the day with us. Nos vemos, amigos. This is a free event involving guided yoga, local vendors, coffee, food, DJ, live music, art activities, family, and it's dog friendly. When? Saturday, May 9th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Tejano time. Casa Azul, Fort Worth, Texaslán. Para más información, visit the Cultura Markets Instagram page by searching Cultura Markets.
Y un evento desde Califaslan, La Raíz Magazine announces Cultura Poetry Night with open mic is back on Tuesday, May 19, 2026 from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Pacific Time via Zoom, featuring Sammy Herrera at Pretty Petite Poems and Montezuma III at Montezuma_ Roman numeral 3. This event is presented by Poetry Center San Jose, hosted by Elizabeth Jimenez Montelongo in partnership with La Raíz magazine. Cultura Poetry Night celebrates the culture of people who identify as raza, Chicano, Chicana, indigenous, or from their country of origin, whose heritage is rooted in areas that are now Mexico, Centroamérica, El Caribe, and Sudamérica. A multilingual event with 2 featured poets, guest poets, and open mic. Register at www.laraizmagazine.com.
Today is an exciting day. We're beginning to install the 10th annual La Bulla, an annual art exhibition celebrating lucha libre culture, curated by Antonio Pelayo. I have to say, I'm honored to be doing the show with Antonio. He's a top-notch curator who's been putting me on game and helping out Super Chief a lot. As for the artwork, there's some truly great pieces in the show. Tickets for the opening party are sold out, but there will be limited tickets at the door. We'll be announcing more programming during the 3-week run of the exhibition soon, so keep an eye out for that. And be sure to catch La Bulla while it's up at Super Chief Gallery. If you're interested in purchasing artwork from the show, send us a DM. I can't wait to share this exhibition with everybody. It's top tier. Thanks again to Antonio, Natalie, and all the artists for going hard on this special 10th anniversary of La Bulla.
As noted, La Bulla is an annual Los Angeles-based festival celebrating lucha libre cultura, combining a massive curated art exhibition with live lucha libre matches, music, vendors, and more. This year is a tribute to the legend El Santo. This is a 21-plus event. Anyone underage will not be permitted inside. Online tickets are officially sold out. However, limited tickets will be $20 at the door. May 16th, 7 p.m. to 1 a.m., 1965 South Los Angeles Street, Los Angeles, Califas, 90011. For more information, visit superchefgallery.com.
We'll be right back after a word from our contributors.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm Scott Russell Duncan, a Chicano writer, editor, and AztlanWeekly reporter with the widest name. AztlanWeekly is produced in association with Maíz Poppin' Press, where we publish radical imagination and resistance writing that pops. Visit maizpoppin.com. We're also in association with the Palabras del Pueblo Writing Workshop, an affordable and accessible online workshop that centers La Raza and strengthens our own literary institutions. Writing that speaks to our community first and loudest. See more at palabrasdelpueblo.com.
What's up, familia? If you're looking for a space that celebrates powerful storytelling, community, and culture, the Brown Book Club is where you need to be. Since 2020, we've been building a community centered on Latina, Latino, Chicana, Chicano, and indigenous voices, uplifting stories that reflect who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. We don't just read these books, we connect with the authors behind them. Through the Brown Book Club podcast, we've had real conversations with incredible writers, diving deeper into their stories, their process, and their lived experiences. This is more than a book club. It's community, it's culture, it's conversation. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Just search The Brown Book Club and tap in.
Okay, so let's say you've got the Mexica calendar for the upcoming year, Tochtli, and you want to know a little bit more about the philosophy and worldview associated with the ancestral calendar system. Or maybe you're curious about the individual feasts that are held in connection with each of the months. Well, dear listeners, I've got you covered, because my new book, Never Will It Be Lost, is now available. It features beautiful cover art provided by the amazing artist Mi Corazón Mexica, and it's packed with full-color images from the codices. In it, I go over each of the monthly feasts, and I provide some guidance and suggestions on how these feasts can be celebrated today. I also go into the Mexica worldview, cosmovision, and philosophy, and I talk about how we, as modern-day Mesoamerican descendants, can connect with and actualize this philosophy in the modern world. I'm super proud of this book. Again, it's called Never Will It Be Lost, Ritual, Remembrance, and the Aztec Calendar by yours truly, Curly Tlapoyawa. And if you order it using the link in the show notes, you get $5 off. So if you want to support independent, indigenous Chicano media, please consider picking it up. Tlascamati Timoitase.
And now, Aztlan Weekly presenta Palabra.
Hello everyone, my name is Christian Williams Vigil. I am a Chicana writer from El Paso, Texas, native home to the Manso people. My work has been published in anthologies and various literary magazines such as Somos Chicanas Anthology, Fatal Flaw Literary Magazine, The Relaunch, and La Raíz Magazine. Currently, I am an MFA student for the Creative Writing program at the University of Texas at El Paso. One of my classes this semester is dealing with documentary-style poetry, or poetics in documentary. We watched films about injustices happening in communities across the nation and worldwide, and how the persons who created the film are highlighting those communities to uplift their voices and raise awareness. For one of our writing assignments, my professor asked us to think about something happening in our community that impacts us, something that's not typically highlighted, or if it is highlighted, is easily brushed aside, that we would like to raise awareness of. Across from my neighborhood is the property of the East Montana Detention Center, where currently as I speak, there are men, women, and children facing human rights violations inside that facility. I could go on all day about what's wrong with that place and all the horrors that are happening inside, but where I would like to start first is the murder of Geraldo Lunas Campos. This man who hailed from Cuba was pushed down on the cold concrete floor, had guards descend upon him and press their knees into his back and his neck until he was no longer breathing. I am so very sure those individuals would like this event to be brushed aside as a simple hashtag to be seen and then forgotten, but here I am to present you all my poem in my class assignment, Flores para Geraldo Lunas Campos. My feet drag across the desert floor, catching every espina in the crevices of my toes. White and red face paint smears and streaks down into streams that flow under my chin. The lace veil over my hair attempts to cover me from Dios Taloc's tears. He weeps for his people that have been smothered in the night under the fluorescent swaying bulbs of detention centers. Luminarias light the way to a cross freshly staked above the grave. The birds cling to gnarled and forked branches of black-barked trees, ready to teach new souls how to fly out of their cages. I kiss the heads of zinnias before laying them on the marker that reads, Geraldo. Behind me a flashbang explodes, tearing apart the crowds that have gathered to demand answers. Their handmade signs are paper shields against billowing gas canisters. The opposition readies rifles that will inject into brown bodies, or white bodies, to prove it's you're with us or against us. People at home will scroll past video after video of a protester slammed into the street with 6 cops descending. A recipe for pan dulce, but the hands that make it have never been inside of a panaderia. Senators who shrug at violence on children. The still-frame shot of Geraldo's intake photo with a voiceover. The autopsy report states that Lunas Campos died of asphyxia due to neck and torso compressions. What last whispers escaped his chapped lips as knees pinned him for death? Did he pray, Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, or do our desperations for living beat out the ingrained rules of Catholicism? Supporters of the regime will say this is for the good of white America. More ethnic cleansing on top of ancient genocides. Beyond Geraldo's resting place are fresh and weathered headstones, many with no names, justice, or vengeance. Burdened I am to try and honor them with offerings, but my garden cannot keep up with the diligent work of immigration and customs. Flowers don't bloom as fast as shells do inside flesh. If you'd like to stay up to date with what's happening in my literary world and what I'm published in lately, please check out my website at cristianwilliams-vigil.com or check out my IG handle at ChristyVigilWriter. Same for my TikTok, and we'll see you guys for the next one.
And now Aztlan Weekly presents Where in Aztlan is Scott?
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
Aztlan. Where in Aztlan is Aztlan. Where in Aztlan
I'm Scott Russell Duncan, Chicano writer with the whitest name, and this is Where in Aztlan is Scott? To help me answer that question today is Christian Williams Vigil. So over to you, Christian.
Hello, wonderful people of Aztlan. This is Christian Williams Vigil coming to you live from San Jose, California. I am here to participate in La Raíz Magazine's Floricanto Poetry Festival. Get ready with your taza de café to hear some of the amazing words and highlights from the weekend. This amazing 3-day event was brought to you by La Raíz Magazine, who provided the community opportunities to write poetry, listen to meaningful words, and to meet the community at large in our literary world. On day 1, I kicked things off with my poetry workshop, Hay Poesía en la Casa, where I had participants writing about themes related to home and magical realism. Afterwards, La Raíz Magazine hosted their art show and open mic poetry. Day 2 of the event began with La Raíz's very own Elizabeth Jimenez Montelongo and her workshop, Recobrando Corazón, Taking Back Your Heart. For these exercises, we wrote about taking our hearts back from situations, systems, and people that eat up our energies. Her workshop was followed up by Montezuma III's workshop titled Tezcatlipoca's Obsidian Mirror, Seeing Ourselves Clearly. This amazing session had participants writing about identity labels, self-reflection, and personal beliefs. All 3 workshops were bilingual to ensure inclusion for writers of various language backgrounds. The festival picked back up at Escuela Popular, where participants were able to enjoy the Jóvenes Poetry Showcase. What you are about to hear are the voices of our jóvenes who got on the mic to speak their truths. We heard from Gianni Rios Rangel.
My culture knows how to cook. My culture knows how to cheer you up if you're down. My culture is known for agriculture.
Itzia Alvarez.
Airport, where we are called Purevlichas. It has many traditions and gastronomy, which our time has our roots.
Kier Rocher.
It doesn't make me angry, but I remember my sadness. It felt like a heavy storm that wouldn't go away. Life happens unexpectedly.
Agustin Lopez.
I dream in a world where you're here. I think in a world where you're still with me. I keep this culture in a different story. I dream.
And Carlos Carreon.
Escuela Popular is bonita. Escuela Popular y prefira. Escuela Popular is esperto. I love his amigos. I love his maestros y maestras. I love his alumnos.
For sure, this will not be the last we hear from them. The evening closed out with the feature poetry showcase, where the audience heard from Jose Jimenez, myself, Christian Williams Vigil, Montezuma III, Tiny Poveril Escolar, Aiden Martin, Hector the Alchemist, Elizabeth Jimenez Montelongo, Luis Armando Garcia, Arnoldo Colibri, Scorpianas Lent, Ruben Zamora, y Esperanza Cabrales. On the final day of festivities at the Dr. Roberto Cruz Alum Rock Library was a Raza Book Fair. Books, small presses, authors, and poets provided opportunities for the community to interact meaningfully with our literary world. As the event went on, there were chances for open mic readings. To learn more about this wonderful organization who puts the word of the people at the forefront, please visit La Raíz Magazine at laraizmagazine.com and their Instagram at La Raíz Magazine. Follow them for upcoming workshops and events that are announced through their site so you can register and reserve your spot. I'll see you guys at the next one.
Thanks so much to Christian for covering the San Jose Festival. And this has been Where in Aztlan is Scott. And stay tuned for more Aztlan Weekly programming.
Tell me where in
Aztlan
is Willie?
Where in Aztlan is
Tell me where in
Aztlan
is Willie?
Where in Aztlan
Is Scott?
Yeah.
And now we return you to our regular scheduled program.
And now Aztlan Weekly presenta Pa Que Sepan.
Cinco de Mayo is a celebration of 1862, the Battle of Puebla in Mexico, against the French, the known greatest army of the time. Mexicans were outnumbered and outgunned. The French were seeking to invade Mexico and take over the territory, but Mexicans were unafraid. They had just defeated Spain, European invaders, and took their land back years before. Mexicans were victorious in fighting off the French army, defending their land and their people, the indigenous people of Mexico. What people overlook is that the French were the allies to the Confederate army in the ongoing Civil War. This Mexican victory against the French army, allied to the Confederate army, aided in the abolition of slavery in the United States, no doubt. The agreement between the French and the Confederate army was a trade, weapons for cotton. Those weapons and support never reached the Confederate army. This major event weakened the U.S. Confederate army. By this time, Mexico had already abolished slavery. Mexicans had already freed many black slaves that fled to Mexico via the Mexican Underground Railroad. Cinco de Mayo is not just an excuse to get drunk. If you celebrate Cinco de Mayo, know your history. Know that it is resistance against colonialism. Know your allies. Thank Mexicans for their resilience, their bravery, and their strength, not just by enjoying their culture. Stand with Mexicans today, people who defend their lands and humanity, yet are dehumanized and continue to battle endless invasion and genocide on their own ancestral lands.
That was our hermana Kuali.indigenous. For more from her, visit her Instagram page by searching Kuali.indigenous. That's KUALI.indigenous.
And now Aztlan Weekly presenta Humanidad Behind Bars.
There are stories we've been taught to simplify, to reduce people to a moment, a charge, a label. But step inside county with me, and you'll find something far more complex. You'll find people thinking, questioning, and still becoming. This is Humanidad Behind Bars with Profe Melanie Baru. This week I've been contemplating the power of the need to bear witness, someone to bear witness of our existence. And also paralleled with a sense of community, being seen, and that for someone that we respect or someone that we care about to be proud of us. I'm always humbled by my experiences in county. And I had this moment recently where the students that I was teaching the college course in county, they had an end of the completion ceremony where the sheriff's office is having anyone that took part in programming would receive a certificate of completion. Family would come and visit that were approved. And there was a little ceremony of, giving them credit for the work that they've done. And so that was approaching. And at the end of my class, there is a Chicano brother who is like a bit uncomfortable. He wants to ask me something, and I can see by his body language he's trying to find the words. And he's like, "Oh, profe, and has like this deep Chicano accent, and he's like, at that ceremony that's gonna happen." I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, like what happens if that for the folks that don't have families, like what happens if for the folks that no one shows up for them. You think maybe Mr. Lujan and you, Miss Peru, you think you can kind of step in for them? You think that'd be cool? And I know his backstory, and I know that he's former foster youth. He's a grown man, right? He's a grown man, but he came from the foster care system. And so I knew he was talking about himself. And I said, of course, so-and-so, of course, no doubt. I was like, you know what? I was like, we're going to be there for you. We're going to be there for everyone. And we're going to take pictures together. And he was, oh, that's feeding me. Oh yeah. I was just asking, cause not everybody has their family that can come or doesn't have family. And I said, well, regardless if people have family or not, we're there for you. Me and Mr. Lujan, we'll be there for everybody. We're not even going to wait for you to all ask us to take pictures with you. We're just going to take pictures with you all. Oh, that's feeding me. Okay. I was just checking. And, I like kind of smile inside. And afterwards, I paused and I reflected on that experience. And my heart ached, it ached. There's so many people that don't have someone that they love and respect, and even that they call them family or chosen biological family or chosen family, to show up for them in moments where they want someone to be proud of them. They want a community. They want family. They want someone to bear witness to their existence and be proud of them. And in those instances, we can be those people for others, right? We can be chosen family. We can also do it with grace and with love and care. And I knew that was a difficult thing for him to bring up. And so I kind of just, downplayed it on purpose. And the day came and we were there, and, we initiated, we waved to him in the audience, and, we told him how proud we were of him, and with him and others, we took pictures and we initiated the pictures. Of course, those are approved through the actual, sheriff's office and with their photographer. And so it just makes me think of like the importance that we want someone to see our existence and that our existence matters. And we want someone to be proud of us. And so I encourage you all to also extend yourself to a loved one that may not have biological family that can bear witness to moments in their life that they're proud of. Thank you so much. This is Humanidad Behind Bars.
That was our camarada La Profa Chicana Melanie with the Rising Scholars Network. For more, search Insta for Chicana_Mel. That's Chicana with an X. And for more info about the Rising Scholars Network, visit their website, risingscholarsnetwork.org.
And now Aztlan Weekly presenta Op-Ed with our camarada Yvette.
¿Qué hubo, raza? This is Yvette Xochillot reporting for Aztlan Weekly desde el condado de La Naranja en Sur Califas. Bueno, I think we all know that something feels off. Every week, the conversation is constantly changing. We talk about immigration one week, then there's something else. There's a political scandal, drama, then another headline. And I know that it's not that people don't care. It's just that the attention keeps moving. And when attention moves, certain things disappear from the conversation. It doesn't mean they actually stop happening. Let's look at immigration detention, for example. For years, there have been reports of what happens inside those camps of pain and destruction. Not once, not twice, but they happen over and over again. There's allegations, investigations, and people brave enough to speak out. And still, every time that it comes back into the news, it feels like people were hearing it for the first time. Like the system has not been there the whole time. And that's what I mean by historical amnesia. It's not just the forgetting about the past. It's about losing track of what is still happening right now. Lately, I've been seeing people say that everything going on is part of a distraction. That it's all meant to pull away attention from the Epstein case and the people connected to him. And I understand why people feel that way. But I don't think everything's just a distraction. Some of what we are seeing has been developing for years. Policies, enforcement strategies, and the long-term plans didn't just happen overnight. They existed before, whether people were paying attention or not. Multiple things can be true at the same time. And while the conversation shifts, the realities stay exactly the same way that they have always been. Our gente are still in detention. These families are still going through the same system. Nothing about that has paused just because the headlines have changed. And it's not just immigration. I have seen this pattern before. With policing, with labor rights, who gets protection and who doesn't. The people the most affected, as you all know, are the same. The ones that rarely stay at the center of the conversation for too long. That's the part that feels familiar. Not the events themselves, but how quickly they stop being talked about. Like our pain and struggle is just temporary. Pero como decimos en México, ni perdón ni olvido.
Welcome to Tengo un Cuento, because we all have a story to tell. I'm not talking chisme. I'm talking about the stories that saved somebody, the lessons your tia passed down so you wouldn't have to learn the hard way, the ones that make the whole family lose it at the dinner table. These are the stories that heal us, that honor us, that remind us of who we are. I'm your host, Shista Garcilaso, and this is Tengo un Cuento. Today, we have the honor of welcoming someone who has spent her life in service to our community, Olga M. Martinez. Accepted to Stanford and UC Santa Barbara, Olga chose UC Santa Cruz, where she earned her bachelor's degree in creative arts in 1973. While there, Olga and her professor, Eduardo Carrillo, the legendary Chicano muralist, and their classmates painted a mural that still stands on campus today. A proud Mecha member at Foothill College and UC Santa Cruz, Olga went on to earn her master's in special education with bilingual emphasis, earning credentials to teach students who learn differently, including those with auditory, visual, or behavioral deficits. autistic students, those with developmental delays, and physical and mental disabilities. Olga dedicated 40 years to students who needed someone in their corner, training as a writing consultant at Fresno State, advising Mecha at Fresno High School for nearly 2 decades, advising Californians for Justice, and creating a college orientation program at Fresno City College for special education students transitioning out of high school. Olga raised 2 children on her own, and both went on to college. From Arte Americas and the Mexican American Political Association to the Chicano Youth Center, Trabajadores de la Raza and Chicano Alumni Association, the Chicano Breakfast Club, and La Raza Unida Party, Olga has never stopped showing up. Olga has never stopped showing up. A life member of California Teachers Association and National Education Association, a proud member of Fresno Teachers Association, and a past member of Association of Mexican American Educators. In the early 1970s, while Olga was finding her path at UC Santa Cruz, the city was living through a nightmare. Multiple serial killers stalked the area between 1970 and 1973, earning it the nickname the murder capital of the world. Young women, many of them college students, were among the victims, and yet in the middle of that darkness, a young Chicana kept building. Today, Olga brings us something personal, words she wrote herself, straight from her own experience. We are honored to have her here. Please welcome Olga M. Martinez.
Okay, folks, hi. My name is Olga Martinez, and le peste los calcetines, sometimes. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little story. And right now I'm just calling it the Falcon. Anyway, Elena and I met in 1971 in the cafeteria at Merrill College on the campus of the UC Santa Cruz. We have been friends ever since, although now that we are both in our 70s, we don't visit each other as much as we used to. So I was staying in the dorms when I first transferred to UC from Foothill College. And I had decided to go have some lunch in the Commons. I always did this. I always do 2 things or 3 things at the same time. That's my usual MO. So I was looking for a place to live because I didn't like the dorms. And also looking for a female model before one of my drawing classes. So I saw this girl as I walked into the Commons, and I was immediately struck by her beauty. She was sitting alone and eating her lunch. And she had long, shiny black hair, straight and fine. She had high cheekbones with a strong yet delicate jawline. Her skin appeared to be very smooth. And the color I can describe as being sort of like the color of the Southwest. You know, those browns, sandy browns. She had a sensitive look to her face. And her almond-shaped eyes, her brown almond-shaped eyes, looked up at me as I stood in front of her. I sat down clumsily and did a high-pitched hi. I did not wait for a response. I told her about my art drawing class, that I was looking for models to pose for us, and that we would pay, of course, for her work. She seemed at a loss for words, but her expression of eagerness changed quickly to suspicion. I think I read her thoughts. Is this just another Santa Cruz crazy? I introduced myself, and she responded with her name, too. And I asked her how she happened to be at Merrill. And then we shared a little bit about ourselves. Elena was a transfer student at a Monterey Peninsula College, and I had transferred from Foothill. We also found out that we had been chairs of the Mecha student group in our colleges. Mecha stands for Estudiantil Chicano de Aztlán. I had been the first Chicana president at Foothill, and she had been at MPC. Aztlán is the place the Mexica people first settled. It is located in the southwest part of the United States. Our student group stood for self-determination as well as supporting our communities. Elena was born in Warland, Wyoming, and had left home after high school graduation. She went to live with her aunt in Sacramento, California, and I had a similar post-high school experience, except that I did not have a favorite aunt. I was born in San Antonio, Texas, and we migrated to Califas when I was 10 years old. As soon as I graduated, I went to work. In terms of jobs, I started to work in the tomato fields at 12 years old, and then they kicked me out because I was too young. Then every summer, we would all go to pick grapes. Those grapes became raisins by the end of the summer. Then I was a nanny a telemarketer, a postal clerk, a psychiatric nursing assistant for the VA. And then I began my college education. That first year at UC was full of optimism and political activism. We were cultural and social activists. We invited guests like Cesar Chavez and Cheech and Chong. We also did fundraisers too and got involved with other colleges. One day in the fall quarter, we planned and executed a dance. Elena and I were in charge of collecting the dance receipts and cash, counting up the money and placing it in a locked cash box, and then we placed that box in the professor's office. He was our sponsor. By the time we finished cleaning and counting, it probably was almost 2. We had decided that after the dance, we would drive up to San Francisco to see our friends, Joel and David. All 4 of us were Huelga supporters and participated in rallies and boycotts with the United Farm Workers Union, which was very prevalent at that time. It was the grapes and then also boycotting Safeway. So when we got into Elena's blue Fiat, we were tired. The dance had been a success, but we were happy to end the event. We sped out towards San Francisco, hoping we would outrun the thickening fog. We were driving along and talking about nothing in particular, and I began to doze off in my front seat. Then suddenly Elena hits my arm. She yells, "Oh, they wake up! There's somebody trying to hit us from behind!" And I was still sleepy, but scared by the urgency in her voice. Elena was clutching the steering wheel, and because her body was so tense, she appeared larger in the small bucket seat of the car. Elena kept talking while I tried to peer through the back window into pitch darkness. I could not detect any kind of form in the vehicle behind us. Tense. Very tense. She continued. A car comes up, and he comes up real close behind me and then suddenly brakes. And then he's done that twice already. Elena continues driving her little Fiat and even speeding up more. Then nothing for a while. I said, "Don't worry, he has probably turned off." I began to settle down when suddenly we see the car right behind us with his brights glaring. Then he's beside us on the right side. Then Elena is yelling to me, "What do I do? What do I do? He's going to hit us. He's trying to hit us." And then he veers to the left and we veer also. And I find my voice and I say, go around, we can't stop." She maneuvers around it and steps on it, full throttle. Her little car suddenly feels like a flying tank. It cranks up a hill with smoke spewing out of it into us, our faces. All I could think of was the recent kidnappings around the Santa Cruz community. There had been helicopters up by the university and many were staying in their homes out of fear. When the car, a white Ford Falcon, had come close to us, I had seen 2 or 3 shadowy figures in the back, in the dark. Elena was flying and I was praying, hoping that we wouldn't crash. We drove like this for what seemed like a long time, and I kept looking back and then couldn't see any headlights or the form of a car at all. It seemed as though we were both in the same bad dream. We were past Half Moon Bay when we saw a highway patrolman cleaning up after an earlier accident. Elena asked me if we should stop. I yelled, "Yes, yes." We parked by the side of the road in front of his car, and I jumped out and ran back to the CHP. Elena followed, and I began to tell him what had happened, and he asked me a few questions, and Elena came up and continued hurriedly telling him about the weirdos in the white car. We were obviously shaken, and he looked down at us, and then he said, "You don't have to worry now. I will protect you. You can just continue on your way." Elena and I just looked at each other, communicating through our same thought wave. Wow, he sounds like a chauvinist pig. When we were back in the car, we just laughed, and perhaps that released our mutual tension. We had nothing to fear. Our protector was there for us. We calmed down about the near mishap and talked about the description of the car and the figures in it. We kept thinking and talking about it. Was there something we had missed? Then we got into the why. There were questions like, maybe they thought we had money. Maybe they had been waiting for us. And what if they were the kidnappers or the killers everyone was talking about? We arrived in San Francisco finally and went straight to David's brownstone, and he met us at the door. After we were sipping some beer, we started recounting our drive to the city, and Joel just looked at us and asked how much we had to drink or smoke. We laughed. Elena was feeling like maybe they didn't believe us. But then we got more agitated. Joel began to see that we were serious, but to add more mystery to the bizarre night, he remarked that in the book, Journey to Aztlan by Carlos Castaneda, the brujo, or Don Juan, had said that the image of death is a white falcon, or hawk, following you. We all looked at him, and Elena's eyes grew wider as we remembered. But hadn't Castaneda admitted that Don Juan the brujo, the wise man, had visions that were induced by the drug peyote? No, this had been real, and we were not drinking or using drugs. Then Joel, in a low voice, said, yes, but what if it was death following you? And he trails off. Then David came over behind Elena and put his hands on her shoulders and said, well, don't worry, because you're safe with us. Elena and I looked at each other, remembering the CHP's words. We again thought the same thing. Yeah, we were relatively safe now, but only because of the fast thinking, the fast actions of two young Chicanas. The end. Well, death is always following us, isn't it? Nothing to be afraid of.
Olga, thank you for trusting us with your story. And you know, it's beautiful. She told us that sharing this story moved her to reconnect with her friend Elena. And now they're back in touch. To everyone listening, you are not just an audience, you are witnesses. It is an honor to receive these stories, because tengo un cuento, we all have a story to tell. Hasta la próxima. And now, shout-outs.
We also like to make another special shout out to Hennessy Pedro Parker, desde Houston, Texas, for providing his firme music and beats through the program. If you'd like to hear more from him, visit soundcloud.com/Hennessy Pedro Parker.
And once again, our camarada Veronica Aliel would like to give a shout out to all Raza who are in any way contributing to building locally in their communities. And then invite to join El Partido Nacional de la Raza Unida, to build national political power. If interested, visit razaunidaparty.org. That's razaunidaparty.org. And finally, Aztlan Weekly would like to hear from you, Raza. If you reside anywhere in Aztlan and would like to share newsworthy events with us, or if you would like to make a special shout out to family, friends, y queridos, or an organization serving our community, or if you would like to share your thoughts, cáiganle. Shoot us an email at news@aztlanweekly.com, or you can visit our website at aztlanweekly.com.
You can also find us on social media. Search Aztlan Weekly and click follow, subscribe, like, or share.
Thanks for listening, Raza. Hasta luego.
Gracias.
Que viva la raza y que viva Aztlan libre. Es todo.
Minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.